Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to come in here and share something that God has really been teaching me and putting in my heart to share. And if you're someone who's going through any sort of time of confusion, doubt, where you just feel a bit lost in life and you feel like what's really going on, you can't really see God's plan, I really hope that this video brings you some peace, some understanding. I do really think that in any times of hardships we go through in life, it's an opportunity for us to get closer to God and feel God's love. Recently, I've really started to believe the saying that every rejection is God's redirection. I feel like we hear that quite a lot, but I truly believe that it always makes sense in hindsight. You can't really see it in the moment, but it does always make sense in hindsight. So back when I was about 21, 22 years old, I was still in uni. And that was when I just finally started to learn about this idea of self-love, and I decided to start my self-love journey. So I just got myself a therapist, and she said, respectfully, going to the gym and journaling are not really hobbies. They're great and they're great for you, and it's a good thing you're doing them, but we need like an actual hobby, something that kind of gets you outside of your head. Because the thing with me is I think too much. I'm not someone that like doesn't reflect. I reflect too much, and in fact I actually need to get out of my head and into my body more. So she was like, you actually need to have a hobby that you do after uni and just not like in your own head all the time. I was like, you know what, I've always wanted to dance, let me try dancing. So around the same time there were these dance auditions happening for dance groups in uni around London, and I was like, okay, perfect, this is a sign from God, this is exactly what I need. I'm gonna audition and I'm gonna work really hard and get into them. And I remember I prayed about it and I was like, please, like, let me get into just one dance group, I'll be so happy. And unfortunately I didn't get into any of them, and I was like so upset. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is so embarrassing. It's sad and a bit of disappointment, and I was just like, oh, like this is a bit sad because I kind of wanted a new hobby. So anyway, a couple of days passed by, and then I got a follow request on Instagram by some girl. And I remember I went on her page and she had a dancing highlight. I saw that there was these dance classes happening very close to me in London. And I thought, oh wow, amazing, let me just sign up for these instead. I was actually super nervous the first class. In fact, I've got a video about that on my channel, but I just took the risk and I went anyway. I was all by myself, I didn't know anyone, but I just thought, let me just go to these dance classes. And I'm so grateful that I did. So about a year, just a bit under a year goes by of me going to these classes weekly and dancing with these amazing women, and something very unexpected happened. As I said, I was in the start of my self-love journey when I first went for those auditions, those dance auditions. And at the time I had a really deep jealousy issue when it came to women. I would constantly compare myself to other girls. I have a whole video about that as well. But I didn't realize how much dancing with these girls specifically was healing my wound. Every week God was just softening my heart and healing that wound and allowing me to trust women and not compare myself to women, and instead feel empowered and encourage each other, to the point that me comparing myself to other women reduced slowly and slowly every single dance class. And that wound was so deep and painful, and I didn't even realize how much I was going through emotionally and how much God was healing me when I wasn't even trying to be healed. And I think that just shows to me how God has a mysterious way of making things work out. I know if God had given me the option of joining a dance group at that time or joining weekly dance lessons, I would have picked joining a dance group. But I didn't know how much God was going to heal me through this experience instead. And I think it just goes to show how God works in such mysterious ways. His plans are so beyond us, and the way he healed my heart just quietly and gently every week when I didn't even realize that was happening, it honestly like warms my heart up. So I can say in hindsight that those rejections were completely God's redirection. And the funny thing is, after a year of dancing, I did go and audition back for those groups, and I actually did get in, and I did do a show at uni, which I'm so grateful I did, because that was something I really, really wanted to do. And again, it was just as healing, and it was just the way God wanted it to be. That was God's plan all along. So yeah, so now whenever I go through things, and even now I'm actually going through a season of uncertainty and taking risks and feeling like, oh, I don't really know what's going on. But because of that situation, and because of a lot of other situations where I know God's plan was better than what I planned, I guess now I can confidently say that whenever something doesn't go my way or I get rejected, I know that God has a better plan, and it's God stepping in and saying, wait, I have something better for you, just hold on, let me just do it my way, you'll understand later. And I'd honestly love to know any of your stories of where you thought maybe you were having a rejection or something wasn't going your way, but really it was God's redirection. And I would love those stories, because I think that would give people a lot of hope if they're going through anything like this. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helped, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.